unfortunately, the stock market's become a casino, and these casino gamblers are going to come into the sector and they're going to overinflate everything at some point in a big way.
Inside the markets here, joined by Peter Spina at goldseek.com, silverseek.com. Always a pleasure. It's been a while, and I know you had a nice little vacation, so looking forward to kind of drilling down the economy here first. But Peter, welcome. How you doing?
Hey Rob, it's great to be back. Yeah, I had a bit of time off, which has been fantastic, especially in this 2020 when there's so much going on. And it's very, it's a lot of things are happening at once, culturally and in the markets and politics and all that. So it's a good reminder. It's good to step back and take a break from everything. It's been good to get some perspective. And but it's difficult to step back and not get you have to pay attention to what's going on because things are happening very quickly, and in our sector they're happening in a flash. So it's almost like you wait for many years for this moment, and this moment is unraveling right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and I want to certainly talk about that. So let's talk about this. I hate using the term, but the COVID environment. It's wreaked havoc on local business, and I just don't know if those numbers are really out yet to know how hard we've really been hit. So I know a lot of investors pay attention to what you say. So let's kind of start the general economy before we work into where we hang our hat in the metals sector. But how you seeing the bounce back here? These markets have certainly rallied back. Nasdaq new highs. I'm surprised, to be honest with you, but I guess I shouldn't be. They're very resilient. So how do you kind of see the overall landscape of the general economy?
Well, the Fed responded with aggressive liquidity programs, so they're doing a good job in reinflating the bubbles and the ones that they can control the most easily, which is the equity markets and the markets, the financial markets, and where they have really strong influences in equity prices. So it's important to get that back going and get people more optimistic because it is a very difficult situation economically for many people. So we're we see this disconnect between the reality of what's happening in the economy and what's happening in the market. But at the same time, it's also maybe a good reflection that what we see in the general markets as these records is a reflection of all the money that's being created. So what's the value of a dollar? What is really happening right now? Are we going through another series of bubbles that looks like things are going well, but really the reality is we're kind of going into a mini, Zimbabwe, Venezuela situation.
Yeah, so printing money, that's been pretty popular here. Stimulus, you got to help everybody out if you take their livelihood away from them. Let's talk about the damage that's going to do, and that's a perfect segue into why we've always paid attention to precious metals, at least for quite a while. And again, like you said, we're in probably the perfect time for this. We've been waiting for it. Are we reacting well? Is this where we let our winners run? I mean, lay out the environment here for the metals.
Right. Well, now that this sector is getting going, we have a perfect setup where this time around the Fed is monetizing debt and yields are crashing to zero. We're going to negative rates, and there's all sorts of issues geopolitically, economically. There's just so much going on. It's all feeding into gold's favor, so it's really reacting now. It's kicked on the silver side in a big way, which has been lagging tremendously. But my recommendation, really, after we kind of got through this crazy COVID part, because we didn't really know how it was going to affect, how long this was going to kind of delay this bull market that had already started pre-COVID. So there was a lot of things, going in gold's favor before this started, and then COVID came along, and the response policies by central banks and everything just amplified and magnified everything here. So now we're going into a lot more aggressive phase. So everything's kind of got moved forward. Gold's in a huge breakout. I don't think you have to be too worried about it pulling back below 17, 1800 here. Now you're looking at all-time highs very soon, 2000 plus. So I think we're going over there in the next several weeks, if not next few months. It's been behaving very well in the sense it's just marching higher. There's pullbacks, there's strong support. There's no indications that the thing's kind of blowing off in a short term, medium term kind of cycle peak or something like that. So it's doing a great job of playing all the players out there, the traders who have got conditioned to expect gold always to pull back, to short the rallies, and they're just becoming suckers in this game now. They're just getting, this thing gets them out of the market. They're shorting at the wrong time. It rallies on them, they cover, then they get in, back in, and then it corrects, and then it's just, gold has totally transformed itself into this new bull market where people don't understand. I think that the pullbacks are going to be short-lived, and the rules have changed. So what you want to do is, you want to hold on in this big, upswing we're going under now. And it's happening fast, but don't get shaken out very easily on these pullbacks, because this is still the early phase in gold. Silver, last week I was really hammering on the same thing we've been looking at for years, is that 1921, our huge several year resistance points. We've tried to break through 19 multiple times. We almost broke through $19 an ounce pre-COVID. Then it got smashed down to 11, which is just absolutely sparked this unique situation of huge investment to bullion, which there isn't a lot of inventory, and then mine supply issues, which counteracted some of the industrial demand slack. But overall, the investor interest in silver has been in magnitudes of just we haven't seen it before. This is record amount of buying of silver by investors. So the ETF products are seeing 250 million plus ounces in the last few months. Nothing's ever, we've never seen that kind of buying before. Retail is just buying all inventory as possible. Started with COVID there. The last supplies got taken. We talked about that back then. Get your bullion now, because it's going to hard to get it when things like this happen. And now you're looking at massive premiums and supply disruptions. I talked to a Texas bullion dealer yesterday, and he was saying that Q1 2021, maybe they start kind of catching up, but he's getting orders for 100,000 ounces at a time for silver bullion from huge retail investors. He didn't see this in 2008. This is all a rush into silver, because the value it hasn't been this extreme as we saw it in this sell-off in March. As gold runs, it's been pulling silver up. It's underperformed, and now the valuations got so extreme that it's been hard not to just take advantage of it. And as gold keeps running, and that silver to gold ratio, popped at 130, and now we're going under it again. It's still at historic, records. So the value proposition for silver has been awesome. So it broke through this 1921 technical area, and that just triggered massive, momentum. Everyone's talking about silver now. Everyone wants it. And what happens in silver is the sector is tiny. That's what's one of its appeals is last year's its value appeal was huge. Their production of silver is already in the low 20s for a lot of these mines. So here you got to buy for underproduction, and now everyone wants it, and there's not a lot of inventory, and there's very few miners out there. There's very few silver stocks, and people are rushing into very small sector, so the price is jumping very quickly. And I think silver runs now to the 25, maybe up to $30 an ounce area before it really sees a big correction. But you'll see volatility, you'll see strong support on pullbacks in 19, 20, 21. But this thing is going a lot higher. We're going to 25, 30, and then back into the 30s soon, and then that's maybe where it settles for a bit. But longer term, all indications are gold 2,000-3,000 in the next year or so, and silver is going to be at that point re-challenging maybe 50, and then it's going to even break past those highs. So it's amazing to watch it after all these years. So just hold on, but don't be afraid in the short term if you see some of these stocks really pop. Just skim some money off the table, because you do have corrections, and you don't want to be trading it because it's hard to trade it. Right now, you mostly just want to hold on and accept the fact there's going to be some big volatility, but don't be afraid to take a little bit off.
Break away for a quick profile spotlight. Today's profile spotlighted company, Alianza Minerals. Alianza Minerals trades as ANZ on the Toronto Venture Exchange and TARSF in the OTC in the States. Hybrid prospect generator focused on gold and silver exploration in North America. Alianza is awaiting results from its first drill program at its Horse Thief gold property in Nevada with partner Hochschild Mining. Alianza is also actively newly acquired Twin Canyon gold property in southern Colorado and has 2 high-grade silver properties in the Yukon Territory, one of which is joint venture Decor Mining. Again, Alianza Minerals, ANZ on the venture, TARSF, OTC in the States. Yeah, trend is your friend, and can be painful to be whipsawed like that. So I completely concur. So let's talk about these equities here. And you mentioned tightly held, and there's certainly limited inventory for physical bullion. There's some pretty tight share structures out there when the general public actually figures these things out. Talk about now where the conditions, the environment here. I think before it was everything kind of got whacked when we were talking, and you weren't quite sure when they were going to rally up. Now, I think it's all systems go. Is it again? Yeah, take your profits out, be responsible. But I think now you're letting your winners run, right?
Right. You were more bullish than I was at that point. I wasn't so sure if this was going to bounce and take some time to get going, but boy, it really I mean, it was hit an extreme. It made its nice bounce. It doubled, and now we're magnitude several off of those. It's absolutely amazing. But you still look at the valuations of some of these miners. Some of these juniors are trading for 10, 20, 30 million, 50 million, 100 million market caps that have nice resources. Hundreds of thousands of ounces, millions of ounces of gold. There's some of the silver guys, some near-term producers. Yeah, there's such cheap stuff out there. I'm not selling it because now that the sectors finally can get respect and get revalued, these stocks are going to finally get repriced. So one big thing that I started seeing in June, growing and growing, and then something right around July, just absolute rush into juniors financing, money flowing into the companies, offers for financings, trying to get financings because people want to rush into the sector with literally billions of dollars trying to get into the precious metal sector, and there's not that many options. And these companies are beaten down. They have had to dilute at the bottom for some years, and they're not willing to sell out cheap finally because they see what's happening. That's good. Some of them are taking some financings and doing things advancing, but now the stock prices are rallying. And yeah, I think we just are in a perfect period for the juniors. They can finally not be taken by Wall Street, and these guys are going to have to pay up to get positions. And the only one who was really doing it, what, a year, 2 years ago, was it last summer and before, Eric Sprott, he was coming in and he was taking down all these financings. People were calling him crazy, what the, you made a huge win on Kirkland Lake and here you are taking 10, 20% positions in all these, juniors, and yeah, no one cares. And now, yeah, they do care. And it's a totally different environment. So, it's time to accumulate on pullbacks if you can get them, but yeah, it's go time for a lot of these guys, and it's an unusual time for it to happen in the summer on top of it. But this is like something nothing we've seen. So it just started. So yeah, it's gonna keep running here.
Yeah, that's a good point. That this thing's just getting going. So, any particular companies, makeup of companies you're looking for in this environment? Or are you on the, obviously the rally started with the big boys, but now I'm seeing it all down into the lower level stocks. They're just like you said, the capital's coming in here. Are they taking that blanket bet already that I talked about last time? That I said, what's the number? Is that what's going on here? Or who's in this party right now?
Yeah, generalist funds are coming in. You have all sorts of people. I even saw this Portorni or something. He's on Twitter or something. He's got millions of people following him. The Robinhood trader crowd, right? Where they're just day trading wherever the chart looks like. They have no idea of fundamentals. They don't even care. He started recommending a gold stock this morning. You're starting to get these guys interested. And my gosh, today you hit your phone and you can move crazy amount of money between one thing to another, and everyone's sitting home anyway with COVID fears, lockdowns are all in front of their computers, and unfortunately the stock market's become a casino, and these casino gamblers are going to come into the sector and they're going to overinflate everything at some point in a big way. And I think it's actually, I saw it with this guy this morning. He's starting to talk about it, so it's going to get noticed. Silver running this hard, doubling from its lows. Silver stocks doubling, tripling, quadrupling on the larger, mid-tier seniors are rallying, and the juniors popping even more. There's some big ones out there, and there's a scramble to find the cheap ones right now, and there still are a lot of cheap ones. Yeah, there's some really interesting stories. I even found deals in Equinox. I bought Equinox yesterday. That's a million ounce producer in a few years, and it's trading at $2.5 billion market cap, which is about a quarter the valuation of a Barrick Gold gets for a million ounces it produces. So there's value. There's all sorts of stuff out there, and the value per ounce is going to get revalued for gold and silver that people have in reserves, and these companies now have capital to go add more resources, to go development work, a lot of exploration work that hasn't been done for a very long time. There's going to be a lot of interest in getting that done. So it'll be a lot of, hopefully we get some nice, good discoveries out of this too. But the ones that do are just going to go crazy. But there's already companies out there with nice assets that are getting, still highly undervalued in my view.
Yeah, and I think we knew this going in, as you said, longer term, knowing that now is probably the sweet spot of any time that we've seen this market, and we knew that once we got the mainstream in here, that would be our day. So I think you're right there. So you mentioned investors are at home with COVID, doing a lot of reading. Tell people how they can follow your work. Obviously, you've got a couple sites here. I want you to talk about that and how important it is to get a guy like you and to track in these markets.
Thanks. Well, Chris Marquise is helping out on the analysis side on the Gold Seeker report. So he's doing some recaps for investors. He focuses on some juniors, but also on more of the larger cap names. And under the Gold Seeker report, so we kind of track it there. And then on Twitter at GoldSeek, kind of throwing out updates. And then we'll have the sites. We'll be doing some more stuff here in the near future. But goldseek.com, silverseek.com is always a good place. And then when I have the opportunity to come on your show, I can share some of my other insights. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and we probably won't be seeing each other at a conference anytime soon. I'm predicting those are probably done forever, but unfortunately, maybe not. But this virtual stuff's good. So, hey, Peter Spina, appreciate your time and insight here for investors, and look forward to checking back in here in a couple months and seeing how things shake out.
Sounds good, Rob. Enjoy the rest of your summer and enjoy this bull ride, especially in silver. It's long overdue. So congratulations to everyone that's held on and lived through difficult times and now can look forward to some better times ahead. So look forward to getting an update. And if there is another conference, hopefully it'll be back up in your neck of the woods. I remember the Silver Summit. Those were always a great opportunities for the silver industry guys to get together. So maybe you should get something going up there in Coeur d'Alene. I'd come up for that for sure.